How you guys doing? Steve here again today. Um, I know I did a video on this once, but I was kind of clouded-minded when I did it, and wanted to redo it. So basically, this is what I'd like you to know before you attempt to taper or withdrawal off your benzodiazepine. Going through it once, I experienced quite a few symptoms. I'd like to go over some of them with you. Depersonalization and derealization was my biggest one. Now, depersonalization, derealization, also referred to as DPDR, is feeling disconnected from the world. If you're depersonalized, if you feel like you're not in your own skin. Derealization feels like your surroundings aren't real. Feels like it's almost a made-up version, like you're in a movie. Now, this can last throughout your whole entire taper, throughout your whole entire withdrawal, depending how you do it. Every time I dropped a dose or made a reduction, which when I tapered was too rapid, it would take about 3 to 4 days for me to feel the change. And every third to fourth day, I felt more intense DPDR. Now, it's pretty difficult to deal with if you're not ready for it. It's not a good feeling unattached from yourself, feeling like you're in a dream. It's one tip I can give you to attempt to get through it is remind yourself who you are, what your name is. I used to tell myself my name all the time because I didn't want to lose sense of who I was. That's how intense the feeling was. Another good tip is to use your senses. Use your touch, your taste, smell. The sixth sense, the five senses, sixth sense. What is this, the movie? Use your five senses, to remind yourself that you're still here, you're still on Earth. Another one was insomnia. Now, insomnia, it's just because your brain can't shut off. Your GABA receptors are so downregulated from the benzodiazepine that it's hard for your brain to shut off. Your brain's trying to heal, but your brain's constantly going. So insomnia could be a pretty big one. Talk to your doctor if you are already going through your taper. Talk to your doctor about ways you can deal with your insomnia, because sleep is just like any other condition, is key and vital to your recovery. Some things that I found helped me sleep were watching boring movies or boring shows and just winding down. Even if it took me 5 hours in bed, to fall asleep, that I would do it. And then towards the end of my taper, one thing I really noticed that helped was you keep your eyes open, but you keep them just open enough like this, where you're right on the verge of falling asleep and on the verge of keeping your eyes open, because I felt like whenever I closed my eyes, my mind would race more. So it's kind of like a mind trick, You're you're ready to sleep, but as soon as you close your eyes, my mind would race even more. Some more side effects from withdrawal would be nausea, loss of appetite, vomiting. I had during my first reduction, which was a huge jump, was my biggest jump. I had nausea, vomiting, loss of appetite for about a week. I throw up about 3 times a day, and nauseous pretty much throughout the whole taper. But the only time I threw up was within the first week. The nausea, I personally used hard candies or cough drops, peppermint or something like that. And sometimes I would keep a whole pocket full because that's what I knew I needed to have in my mouth in order to ease the nauseousness. You can, I guess, talk to your doctor about the nauseousness. Maybe there's medication you can take, and if you want to stay away from medication, use peppermint candies. That's stuff that I used. And even hard candies, just something in your mouth that will take the nasty taste away. Another big thing for me in my benzo withdrawal, which you can experience, is anxiety. Your benzo is preventing your anxiety. So, of course, it's like if you smoke cigarettes before or you're going on a diet, you crave a cigarette, because you want nicotine, or you're going on a diet, you're craving sweets or things that are bad for you. Your body is craving or is dependent on that drug to keep you calm. Now, your body has to heal in order to get your GABA receptor, which is what the benzos hit and hurt and damage and downregulate. You can do anything that can keep your mind off it. Try and stay active, and if you sit still, your anxiety can get worse. If you keep your mind on something, give yourself an activity, even if it's something small. Try and make it something that will take a long time. But even if it's a small project, don't overexert yourself. Cleaning your room, folding some clothes, doing some dishes, keeps you can use all that energy, all that anxious energy towards something good. I know that there was something that I had where it felt like when you yawn really loud, or you have a really big yawn and you feel that like the buzzing in your ears. I had that for quite a bit. Maybe I'd say 3-4 weeks, and there was really nothing I could do for that. I don't think it wasn't a ringing. It was just like that buzzing when you yawn. You just wait that one out. I couldn't really find much information on what to do for that one. Now some people have pain in their joints. Benzos are muscle relaxer. So it can prevent the pain that you should be feeling. Over-the-counter medications. Motrin. Use Motrin for your pain. What else can you experience? What else did I experience? Depression was a big one. If you experience depression throughout your withdrawal, stop your withdrawal. Level back out is my best advice. Talk to your doctor, who you should have a key plan. See eye to eye. You do your research before you jump off your medicine, or you get off your medicine. Don't go cold turkey. You can get seizures. You can die from seizures. It's a scary thing. But definitely don't cold turkey. But if you experience depression, if you're having crying spells like I was, I thought it was all just part of the withdrawal process. But it is depression. It's it can be because your GABA receptors are so closely related to your serotonin receptors. They can affect one another. So when you're anxious, you can be depressed, and when you're depressed, you can be anxious, and it's hell. So try and find a antidepressant, something that will make you feel less depressed, because it's depressing going through benzo withdrawal as it is. So having some extra serotonin out there to help out your GABA receptor is a huge thing. It's what I'm trying to work on now before I do my next benzo withdrawal, and hopefully my final one forever. Other tips I can give you is try and find a support group if you're having a real hard time. Family members, close friends, let them know what you're going through. Show them videos that you feel are accurate as to what you're feeling. Let them read an article so they know what's going on, because some of those things that you can feel while you're going through benzo withdrawal feel so unimaginable, and you might not think that people can understand, and people might not understand what you're feeling and what you're going through. So if you don't have close friends, family members, find support groups, online support groups if you can't get out of the house. If you can drive, if you can drive to support groups, get yourself into an outpatient facility. They have group sessions, they have doctors you can see every day, they have psychologists, counselors. They're pretty good. If you want to wait to do your taper, to do your withdrawal until you can get into one of those, that's probably a pretty good tip. Now, I know there's people who are out there who feel burning sensations, particularly in their face. Don't know what to do for that one. I can't really give you guys much tips. There might be some more tips out there for you. Some people will feel numbness and tingling. I felt a lot of that, and it's usually in your extremities, fingers and toes. It's kind of weird. It goes away throughout the taper. You can also get tremors. Like I said, benzos can be used as muscle relaxers. So when you're anxious, your body can kind of shake. It's kind of a scary feeling. Sometimes my head would bob like a chicken. I couldn't control it, but it was my muscles just twitching, and I was going like this, and there was nothing I could do about it. There are anticonvulsants, which I found out after the fact, which can help with this, can help your nerves stay calm. But try and talk to your doctor and find one that doesn't deal with your GABA receptor, because we're trying to heal it. We're trying to make it work on its own. It can take a while to get off of your benzo, but if it takes a long time and you're suffering less, then so be it. It is what it is. Some more tips I can try and give you are don't hide it. Don't make it a secret, and don't identify yourself with it. Don't say, just I'm going through benzo withdrawal, but benzo withdrawal is not me. It can really affect your life, but you don't want it to consume you. Remember who you are. Remember what you're going through and what your main goal is. Because I know that before I made every reduction in my dosage, I was terrified. Because I knew that more symptoms might come. I didn't know if I would find new symptoms. Throughout 2 weeks, I got an intense. It wasn't a nasal infection. It was just constant, like post-nasal drip and mucus in my nose. I went to that doctor. I had no fever. There was no sign of infection. Antibiotics didn't work. I just used nasal spray. Nasal spray was a godsend for about 2 to 3 weeks until I got past that part. It's amazing how much benzodiazepine is going to affect your body, physically and mentally. I don't want to end this video without leaving anything else that I went through. If you're prescribed a benzo, you're more than likely an adult. Do not be afraid to ask for help. It's one thing that as adults we don't do. We feel that we're grown-ups. We should be able to take care of ourselves. You know, when we're young, we ask our parents or our guardians for help. If you fall off your bike, you scrape your knee, you ask them to clean it up and put a band-aid on. You know, if you're doing a project for school, you ask for help. As we get older, we tend to not ask for help as much. This is one thing you may really need help with. And finding someone who understands or is supportive for you can be a crucial tip on getting through your benzo withdrawal, your benzo taper. I had a huge support group my first time. Unfortunately, the doctor I saw didn't believe that getting off of 0.5 milligrams of Klonopin twice a day could affect me so greatly. He was naive, and if you have a naive doctor, find one that isn't so naive and doesn't have such a huge ego. If you've made it this far into the video, the most helpful tip I can give you is the Ashton Manual. ASHTON Manual. Google that. Go to the website. There's a ton of information on benzo withdrawal. How to taper off of your benzo. There's Ativan, lorazepam, Xanax is on there, Klonopin, you name it, it's on there. There's all titration and tapering schedules you can go by, but it's not a clear cut. It's pretty clear cut, but it's not a you have to stick to that exact one. It will tell you to reduce within 1 to 2 weeks when you feel ready, but it's not a mandatory 2 weeks. If you feel that you're not ready, wait. Be patient. It's gonna take a while anyways. When you're mentally ready to make that next cut, you make the next cut. It's debilitating. It's depressing. It's one of the hardest things you may go through in your life. But when you come out the other side and when you are healed, I know when I'm healed, I'm not going to be afraid of a fucking thing. There's nothing I'm going to be afraid of. I'm going to be a changed man. You might be a changed woman. You might be a changed man after your benzo taper. You want to avoid stimulants. You want to avoid coffee, caffeine, sugars, anything that gets your engine revving. Avoid it. There's things that might be too stimulating for you, as far as like movies, TV shows. It's benzos, they affect your central nervous system. So, like in horror movies, when you hear that music or that silence and something's gonna happen, it's your central nervous system that reacts to it. Now, it sounds silly, but something as small as a common TV show can create that same reaction. So be ready for it. If something you're watching is too stimulating, if you're couch bound, bed bound, if you're out and about, if things are too stimulating to you, stop watching them, stop doing them. You'll get there eventually, It just takes time. I'm trying to think of anything else that was too much for me. Oh, fear. You can experience fear of nothing. Just fear of absolutely nothing. Fear of walking downstairs, walking outside, walking to the bathroom, getting in the shower, and just stupid small things. You just feel afraid, and you're afraid of nothing. And the biggest thing that helped me through that was telling yourself positive self-talk. There's nothing to be afraid of. Why are you afraid? You shouldn't be afraid of this. You were never afraid of this. Just go and do it. That helped me a lot. It's kind of mind over matter, even though it's your mind doing it to you. Your positive self-talk can help you a lot through your benzo tape or your benzo withdrawal. What else? That's as far as symptoms, that's on the top of my head. But most of the things that happened to me, like I said on the Ashton manual, you can find more symptoms that can happen. If you taper slowly and at your own pace that you feel comfortable with, you will more than likely experience less side effects from the taper, the withdrawal. You taper too rapidly, and you can experience more and more severe side effects. And like I said, most important advice is find a doctor that will see eye to eye with you. Don't just go if they refuse to help you the way that you'd like to be helped. Please find a new doctor. Go to your primary care physician. Speak to them about the Ashton manual. Show them the information. Get their insight. Even if they don't know much about psychiatric drugs or benzodiazepines or antidepressants, that's not their major field. They would tell you to speak to a psychiatrist. Say you don't trust your psychiatrist, you trust them. And I want to do it this way because after reading and watching videos and articles and for countless hours on end while I was going through my taper to see if there is a faster way through this, if there is more tips to do this, to get better, to get through it. Everybody refers back to the Ashton manual. It's like the holy grail for this situation. So bring that Ashton manual to your doctor. Say, this is how I want to get off my medication. Speak to them about water titration. You can get your benzo prescribed in liquid form. It's not common in most pharmacies. You might have to wait for it to be ordered, but it is out there. They say 10% cuts every 1 to 2 weeks or 3 weeks, or whatever you feel comfortable with, is the best way to do it. When I did it, I was doing like 50% cuts, 25% cuts, which I know now are too extreme. So my next time around, I'm going to be doing it a little bit differently, and I'm hoping that it's going to help. Now, if you're spiritual, if you're religious, I prayed every single night that I would get better and that I would find an end to it. Unfortunately today I'm still taking Klonopin until I can get my serotonin in check and my depression better, because my depression was caused by my Klonopin taper, my Klonopin withdrawal. Now, I'm going to begin my taper again, slowly, much more slowly than the first time, once I'm less depressed, once I'm feeling better. I was getting back to prayer. I prayed every night. I asked for signs, asked God for signs on what I could do. Please send me a sign on a way that I can get better quicker, a way that I knew that I was going to be okay. And I remember one particular night, I prayed and I prayed and I prayed that just give me a sign, God, please. I was crying, and I was hysterical crying, and I was praying, and I was looking up to the heavens, I was looking at the ceiling, and I said, please just give me a sign that everything's going to be okay. I'll never forget it. I was in bed next to my fiance, and she's a snorer. She rolled over and rubbed my head while she was snoring. And if you don't believe in God, or if you think it's just coincidence that she rolled over and rubbed my head, that was, to me, a huge sign from God that everything was going to work out, and that He had my back, and that He would put me in a position that I needed to be in. And I'm still here, that was in January, towards the end of my taper, and that was the worst part of it. And, I was naive to not realize that I was going through major depressive disorder as well with my Klonopin taper. So, that's really all I have for you guys. Please, if you have any questions, or if you have any stories you'd like to tell me, or if you want to just type something out and get it out, I will respond to you. I know it's a terrible thing. Benzos are a good and a bad thing, but they're just misused and misprescribed. They're not prescribed properly for most people. So if you guys have any comments, if you liked what you heard in this video, please like my video. If you learned anything, subscribe to my channel if you'd like. I just want you guys to keep fighting. I want you guys to keep your heads up every single day. I want you guys to keep surviving, because that's what we're here for. We're here to get better. And I will talk to everybody soon.